Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Today our group will present ISO 9000 and Sears Quality Management System or QMS. Before I start, I will introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Aris bin Abdul Malik. Number 3 2025433496. I'm from KM 2383C. I will present introduction. So for the introduction, Sears, Roebuck & Co. stand out as one of North America's biggest retailers. The company has always shown a strong dedication to quality when it comes to product and services alike. To back up that dedication, Sears put real effort into getting its product repair centers and in-home service operations certified under the ISO 9001 Quality Management System standard. They went through a full-scale process for this. The whole point was to make operations more uniform, boost how satisfied customer feels, and strengthen service skill throughout the huge setup of store and technicians they have. Bringing in ISO 9001 gives Sears a solid setup to handle consistent quality, stick to rules, and keep pushing for better results. This helps even in the tricky world of retail and services. Now, look at the hurdles Sears ran into while rolling out ISO 9000. It covers the gain they end up with. Additionally, it shows how ISO 9000 ideas show up in their everyday quality management approaches.
Now I'm going to answer question 1. The question says, what issue do you think that a large company such as Sears had to face in implementing ISO 9000 across its vast organization? So the first issue is the needs for consistency across district and region. Sears had 383 locations and 48 districts, each required to meet ISO 9001 requirements individually. Because every district has its own certificates, Sears had to ensure that every location followed the same process, documentation standards, and quality procedures. In the first issue, the Sears need to ensure uniform training for all regions. Second, making sure every district interpreted ISO requirements the same way. And lastly, monitoring and auditing many separate units. This is the issue, the problem for the issue 1. Because in a large company, even small differences between locations can lead to inconsistent service quality. Therefore, achieving full alignment across all districts was a major issue in the ISO implementation. And for second issue is standardizing processes for thousands of technicians. Sears had around 10,000 in-home service technicians, each performing repairs independently at customer location. This creates a huge challenge for ISO 9001 implementation because ISO requires first standardized work procedure, second consistent documentation, and lastly uniform tools and form. This will make the standardization across such a large workforce one of the biggest issues Sears had to manage.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Hazim Ahmad Zainal and my number matrix is 2025234572. And now I will explain the third and fourth challenges that is faced by Sears in implementing this ISO 9001 quality model. Okay, so the third challenge was related to how Sears managed its own hazardous material. This because when the company decided to adopt this ISO 9001, many of its existing practices needed to be changed to meet the new requirement. One of the biggest areas affected was the handling of its own hazardous substances. This is because Sears could be said to have used several dangerous chemicals in its operation. For example, freon, which can cause a serious health and environmental risk if it is not managed properly. To comply with this ISO 9001, all of Sears repair center and in-home service operation had to follow a stricter standard for handling, storing, and disposing of this hazardous material. This means that they needed standardized documentation, and procedure in every single one of its retail locations. However, because Sears had hundreds of stores across multiple regions, ensuring every location followed the same procedure was a major challenge in implementing this ISO 9001. Another difficulty was staff training. Thousands of its employees across multiple regions had to be trained first on how to handle, use, and dispose of these hazardous materials safely. Coordinating training on such a large scale will require a lot of time, effort, and resources. This made hazardous material management one of the most challenging parts of the ISO 9001 implementation. And finally, the fourth and the last challenge was the high cost and long time frame needed to implement this ISO 9001. To meet the standard, Sears had to invest heavily in upgrading its own infrastructure to ensure workplace safety and quality. For example, the company had to develop a proper tool calibration program and even establish a certified calibration lab. These steps were necessary to meet the ISO 9001 requirement, but they were also very costly at the same time, especially when applied across all of its retail locations. In addition to this high cost, the process took a long time because of the size of the organization. Sears had hundreds of retail stores and service centers, and each one had been operating under its own system even before the ISO 9001. Coordinating all these locations and standardizing their processes will require careful planning and continuous monitoring. It couldn't be done overnight. Because of the company's size and complexity as well, it took Sears almost 8 years to successfully implement this ISO 9001 across all of its operations. This long duration reflected the amount of effort needed for Sears to implement this ISO 9001. All in all, the issue of hazardous material management, employee training, high costs, and the long implementation period clearly show how difficult it was for a large organization like Sears to adopt this ISO 9001. These are all the challenges faced by Sears in implementing this ISO 9001 quality model.
Now, I will explain how ISO principles help address key operational issues faced by the organization. Before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Alif bin Abdul Kadir, metric number 2025431226. In this case, ISO is important because the organization operates across multiple districts and employs thousands of technicians. Without standardized system, it would be difficult to maintain a consistent service quality. Therefore, ISO principles provide a structured approach to manage processes, people, and overall performance. First, the organization faced a major challenge in ensuring process consistency across different districts and regions. The ISO principle is process approach and system approach to management. When each district operates using its own method, this can lead to variation in service, quality, delays, and efficiencies. By applying the process approach, ISO requires every activity to be clearly defined, documented, and controlled. This means all districts follow the same standard operating procedures when carrying out their tasks. At the same time, system approach to management ensure that these individual processes are connected and managed as part of one integrated system rather than separate units. Therefore, as a result, difference between regions are reduced. Communication becomes more effective and management can be monitored performance more easily. Overall, it creates a unified quality management system which ensures consistent service delivery regardless of location. Now, for the second ISO principle, it plays a crucial role in standardizing processes for thousands of technicians. The ISO principle is process approach, leadership, and involvement of people.
Managing a large workforce can be challenging, especially when technicians have different skill level, experience, and working habits. Through the process approach, technicians are trained to follow the same repair step and service procedure. It will reduce errors and ensure that services are performed in a consistent and systematic manner. Leadership is important as managers are responsible for enforcing standards, providing guidance, and ensuring compliance with ISO requirements. Additionally, the involvement of people encourages technicians to take responsibility to their work and understand how their roles contribute to overall service quality. So, as a result, technicians will become more disciplined, accountable, and professional. Most importantly, customers receive the same level of service quality, regardless of which technician or location is involved.
For the third point of ISO principle is proper management of hazardous chemical. This point emphasizes the vital importance of safety and environmental responsibility when dealing with dangerous substances. The ISO principle ensure that this management is systematic, data-driven, and focused on prevention. The ISO principle applied is customer focus, factual decision, and continual improvement. For the key action is first implementing stricter and safer handling procedure like detailed SOPs. For the second key action is using accurate data to monitor substance and detect deviations. For the third key action is the overall goal is to avoid accidents and environmental harms, fulfilling both legal requirements and ethical responsibilities. For the last point of ISO principle is high cost and long time frame. This point addresses the management of large, complex and high-stakes projects such as building a new facility, implementing a new enterprise software system, or achieving a major certification. This project requires long-term vision and disciplined execution to ensure the substantial cost and time investment deliver the intended result. The ISO principle applied is continual improvement, leadership, and system approach to management. For the key implementation action is first is produce long-term saving. The primary justification for a high cost, long time frame project like a new factory or system upgrade is the expectation of significant return on investment (ROI) over time. This bullet point emphasizes that the ISO framework must be used to ensure efficiency and quality so that the projected cost saving actually realized. For the second key implementation action is keep the company focused during implementation process, like strong leadership and a clear system approach are used to maintain organizational discipline, ensuring that employees and resources remain committed to the project until completion despite competing priorities.
Now for the conclusion. The implementation of the ISO 90,000 quality management system at Sears reveals how a huge and multifaceted organization can achieve significant process standardization, customer satisfaction, and regulatory compliance. Among the issues tackled in the case study were consistency across district, handling danger materials, and consolidating technician procedure. ISO 90,000 principles such as leadership, continual improvement, and process approach that also help Sears develop a strong quality structure that will help ensure a long-term success of its operations. The initiative also resulted in raising the quality of service rendered and established Sears as a forerunner in quality management of the retail and service industry. That's all from our group presentation. Thank you for listening. Now for the conclusion. The implementation of the ISO 9000 quality management system at Sears reveals how a huge and multifaceted organization can achieve significant process standardization, customer satisfaction, and regulatory compliance. Among the issues tackled in the case study were consistency across districts, handling danger materials, and consolidating technician procedure. ISO 9000 principles such as leadership, continual improvement, and process approach that also help Sears develop a strong quality structure that will help